We embarked on a journey to not one, but 2 UNESCO World Heritage sites in Bulgaria. A day filled with awe, beauty, and an unexpected experience that left a deep impression. Come along and see for yourself. After a week in Sofia getting ourselves settled into our new temporary home, we decided to leave the city and start to see some of the sights of Bulgaria. After looking at a bunch of places online, we decided on Rila Monastery, which is one of the biggest attractions in Bulgaria, if not the biggest. It seems like something we definitely shouldn't miss if we're going to spend a month in this country. And since it's kind of in the middle of nowhere up in the Rila Mountains, we booked a tour bus since it's really the only way to get there without a car. We got picked up next to the St. Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, which is the most prominent attraction in Sofia. But this was actually our first time seeing it, so we decided to take some pictures. We gave my phone to someone who looked like they were in high school, and what the hell is this angle? Is this how all the kids are taking photos these days? With our obligatory Instagram photos out of the way, we hopped on the bus to the Rila Mountains. But first, a stop at Boyana Church. This ancient church is on the outskirts of Sofia, and it's in this really cool foresty area at the foot of Vitasha Mountain. It gives a scenic backdrop in a place where you wouldn't typically expect to find a church. The door to the church is super short, probably about 5 feet tall, so most people need to crouch to get in. And the building itself is so small that they only let 10 people in at a time. So we had to wait outside while the group in front of us finished up.
This might be the smallest church I've ever been in.
Once we went in, they wouldn't let me film, so I'll just pull some photos off the internet. The inside is pretty empty, but the thing to see are the murals depicting various saints and Bible stories. A lot of the paint was really decaying, but given that most of them were painted in 1259, it's remarkable how well preserved they are. Outside the church, there's a path where you can see a little cemetery along with a larger gravestone up against the church. This one is dedicated to the memory of Bulgarian soldiers who died without their identity being known. There's no actual unknown soldier down there, so this is purely symbolic. Heading back to our transport, we saw both a stray dog and a stray cat, having no idea at the time how much of a thing this would be in Bulgaria. Then it was time to begin the 2-hour drive to Rila Monastery. I can't really complain about how far it was because the drive was absolutely gorgeous, and we had snacks with us. We traded city buildings for a rolling countryside dotted with small villages and giant farms. Oh, and plenty of sunflower fields. I don't know if I've ever seen sunflowers next to a highway before. There was also this very boring billboard advertising a plain hot dog, I guess? Anyway, I can't remember the last time I enjoyed looking out the window of a tour bus this much. Around 12:30 in the afternoon, we finally made it to Rila Monastery. Stepping through the entrance of the complex was a sight to behold. Under the archway, you can see a glimpse of the mountain, and then the black and white stripes of the main building really catch your eye. I've visited plenty of significant religious landmarks before, but the appearance of this one really stands out. It's interesting to see these very simple striped patterns contrast with the intricate murals right below, or frescoes as they're called. I really like the color palette on these paintings, especially the greens. They really pop out. Also, it's a shame that beards like this ever went out of style. I don't think I've ever journeyed quite this far specifically to explore a place of worship, so most of what I've seen has just had city buildings as its backdrop. But this place, up in the mountains, has a whole new level of beauty in its surroundings. There's also these balconies surrounding the main building, which are visually captivating as well. Up there, they have these rooms that are preserved to what they might have looked like a long time ago, complete with some creepy mannequins. Then there's this tower that looks like it belongs in a castle and has a completely different aesthetic than the rest of the place. Yeah, this whole place is just very unique. We went inside the main church, and there was a sign telling you not to film. I was hoping I'd be fine since I had an iPhone rather than a Nokia from the mid-2000s, but no one else was taking pictures, so I kept my phone in my pocket. So once again, here are some photos from the internet. It was definitely a nice looking church, but honestly not super memorable. The outside of this place is really what you're going for. The area outside the complex was also worth exploring a bit. You get a better view of the mountain, there are souvenir shops as you'd expect in a place like this, and also donuts. But not sad donuts like in some other places. These are happy donuts. and they were pretty tasty. There honestly wasn't too much to see outside the complex other than this cute little river, so we went inside after not too long, only to find something very strange. In this area right here, there was a lamb that was tied up and making a lot of noise. It was clearly in distress, and I didn't want to film it out of respect for the hurt animal, so you're just gonna have to trust me that this happened. The lamb just laid there screaming for like 10 minutes and nobody seemed to be paying attention to it except for us. Then someone in a long dark robe picked the lamb up by its feet and threw it in this little door over here. So it seemed like this was a religious ritual or something, and I figured we'd certainly be able to find something about it online. But literally the only thing I could find was this woman's blog post from 6 years ago where she said things like, "I heard what sounded like a scream. We were horrified to find a lamb tied up on the concrete floor and left in the rain. It wasn't bleeding, it was actually screaming and throwing itself around on the floor, trying to set itself free." Then she said that someone came over and picked up the lamb by 2 of its legs and threw it into another area, which was exactly what we saw. Her story was even more extreme than what we saw. She went on to say that a priest came over and kicked the lamb before saying some sort of prayer. We felt horrible for this lamb, and seeing that kind of soured the whole experience for us a bit. But what felt kind of surreal is that it seems like this has been happening for over 6 years, but we found nothing about it online except for that one blog post. And when we mentioned it to our tour guide, he had no idea what we were talking about. It was very strange. If you can find anything about this, leave a comment down below because I'm genuinely curious to understand what we just witnessed. It's moments like these that remind me that travel isn't just about picturesque landscapes and historical monuments. It's also about experiencing the unfamiliar and confronting unexpected emotions. Sometimes those experiences are delightful, and sometimes they're a little unsettling. Taking a deep breath and letting the mountain's fresh air fill my lungs, I tried to refocus on the beauty around me. As we drove past all those vast landscapes once again on the long drive back to Sofia, I reflected on the experiences of the day. From the intricate ancient frescoes of Boyana Church to the rolling landscapes of the Bulgarian countryside to the majestic beauty of Rila Monastery, our first adventure in Bulgaria made me super excited to spend the rest of the month exploring this wonderful country. I'll have many more Bulgaria videos to come, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.